I have a simple job planned for this evening. Break into a guarded mansion, steal another fat nobleman's priceless trinket, and leave quietly.
Catch my breath and hold it for me. I'm wasting my time trying to make up my mind. Well, I'm sitting here as the chandelier is whispering in my ear, saying, can I get a cigarette? I know you'll never be mine. Can you come around tonight and sing me a lullaby? Just take my heart and break it. Can you come around tonight? I might be the enemy, but nothing quite hits like you.
So ever since I was first introduced to stealth games like Manhunt and Hitman on the PS2, I've always been infatuated with stealth games, and the early 2000s was an era where stealth video games were kind of going huge in the gaming market. Like, it seemed from 1998 to 2010, we were getting games like Splinter Cell, Thief, Metal Gear, Batman Arkham Asylum, Deus Ex, Hitman, Manhunt, and Assassin's Creed. I mean, the early 2000s were stacked full with stealth video games, but if you're looking at the catalog of stealth games that have come out in the past 5 to 10 years, it's games that have stealth in them, but it's not the main focus. It's more treated like a side option for if you want to feel like you're doing something special without actually having to do something special, because of how many handholds the fucking game gives you. When Thief came out in November 3rd, 1998, it paved the way for what a first-person stealth game could be, a lot like with what Metal Gear did with the top-down and third-person stealth games. Thief inspired the dynamic lighting, the shadows, and sound propagation in the Splinter Cell series. Like, Thief was a game that told devs, hey, you can make a stealth game and have it be fun for everyone. And then this game came out, and fucking yikers. Like, IDOS really asked which Thief game was the worst in the series, and when somebody said Deadly Shadows, they took that as a fucking challenge, saying, no, let's top that one. But if you don't know what the game series Thief is, and you clicked on this video because you thought the thumbnail and title looked kinda wacky-o, here's a very, very short rundown on what the game series is. I'm gonna leave a few things out on purpose, because I just don't want to spoil everything, and also, there's just way too much in this game. But before we get started with it, bruh, I'm gonna be getting my nigga out for this one. I don't consider the Thief reboot as a Thief game. I will only be referring to the original 3 mainline games. That is, the Dark Project, the Metal Age, and Deadly Shadows. Thief is a first-person stealth dark fantasy steampunk thief game. It was made by Looking Glass Studios, which has since been shut down, and it was published by IDOS Interactive, which is the reason why Looking Glass Studios is not a thing anymore. You follow the story of Garrett. He was an orphan kid pickpocketing to survive, and one night he gets picked up by the Keepers after trying to pickpocket one of them. I'll get into the Keepers after this, but after training with the Keepers for a number of years, Garrett went on his own to do his own thing, thieving and mostly picking up these odd jobs for people. And his main contacts and sources for getting these jobs, setting up plans, and getting more gear are Artemis, Cuddy, and Basso. The Keepers are a secret organization that's been around for centuries in the Thief universe, but they only work in the shadows, much like the Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed. But unlike the Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed, where you can clearly tell who's who whenever an assassin walks in a room, the Keepers are actually working in the shadows, and nobody knows who they are. They're an order that keeps balance in society, but they mainly do it through observation and prophecy. They mainly see what's happening around the city, and if they need to step in to make subtle noise to certain events to keep the balance, or just keep in the shadows and observe. And yes, their work is based off of prophecy, so if they see a prophecy, they have an obligation to fulfill that prophecy, usually revolving around the many factions around the city. These guys are essentially making sure any one-side faction doesn't gain all power, making sure the bad factions and the good factions are equal plane, whether giving the bad factions an advantage against the good factions, or giving the good factions an advantage against the bad factions. The Order of Hammer. What in dick cheese is the Order of Hammer? These guys, which are called Hammerites, also, hang on, I'm gonna pause here for a second. The Thief games are religion-based games. They're about religion, but not Christianity, Buddhism, or Islam. They're about cool religions. The Order of Hammer is a religion that worships the god called the Master Builder. The Master Builder is said to have pulled society from being a savage wasteland through technology. These guys are essentially really passionate about building steam machines and electric streetlights. It's a religion that believes in the superiority of technology and human achievement over nature, and they basically practice this belief in doing adult arts and crafts. These guys invented pumping machines for water and sewage, new kinds of weapons, and yes, electric streetlights, and all kinds of infrastructure around the city, but they also make blessed weapons and blessed tools. These guys strive for three things: order, technology, and law. They have a fucked up way of enforcing law and order, basically beating, incarcerating, and torturing, and they don't leave the wealthy alone either. They treat the wealthy the same way they treat the poor. Now, these guys don't run the city, but they do have a lot of influence in districts in the city, with a few strongholds in downtown, Old Quarter, Stone Market, and Fort Iron, while also having a prison called Craig's Cleft Prison. And their prison is for people who are breaking the law, but it's also used for people who don't support the Hammerites or practice their religion. And because these guys are so good at craftsmanship, they have a lot of financial gain in the city by having contracting companies, factories, and giving basic infrastructure for the city. And get this, you want to know what their main tool slash weapon is? Yeah, you would never guess it. It's a hammer. Now, the Mechanist Order is the sister religion to the Hammerites. They were founded by the priest Karis, who was a Hammerite, but he had a few disagreements with the Hammerites about the Order of Hammer, and he was mad that the Hammerites were too traditional and way too complacent. So he took a couple hundred already converted then Hammerites and left, making the religion the Mechanist Order. Now, when the Mechanist Order was still around, these guys were having a significant increase in technological advancements over the Hammerites. With the help of electricity and lightning, these guys made cameras. Don't ask in the comments, I have no fucking idea how. They've invented the Mechanist crossbow, robotic spiders, turrets, builder children, which are basically worker robots, and they also made robots for higher power people too. Now, unlike the Hammerites, where they believed that people should be intertwined with technology to overcome nature, Priest Karis believes that people should be extinct and replaced by technology. And this belief would actually be the downfall of the religion, because he had a shit ton of radical beliefs that got worse over time. Karis made a gas that could eliminate all organic life the gas touched, and this gas was called the rust gas. Karis wanted every single human in the city gone, so he ended up putting some of the rust gas into a few of the servants' masks, and how he was going to be able to eliminate all organic life in the city was to donate these servants to the nobility, releasing them into the streets and letting the gas seep through the whole city, killing everybody. But of course this backfired. Just before the infected servants got to their location, Garrett was able to rewire some shit, and the guiding beacon, the thing controlling the servants, went back to the cathedral, where Karis is, just before getting to the nobility. When the servants arrived, the cathedral was sealed with Karis inside. They released the gas, and Karis was killed by his own weapon, completely collapsing the Mechanist Order. The pagans are another religious group, but these ones are the opposite of the Hammerites and the Mechanists. The pagans believe in the god called the Trickster, the god of nature and chaos. This religion despises the technological advances made by humans and the environmental destruction done by humans. These people are primitive and extremely hostile towards anyone they see as an outsider. The pagans have people and creatures to kill and defend. There are the pagan warriors, shamans, necromancers, chaos beasts, and rat men. These guys practice their belief with doing magic and being attuned to nature as much as possible. They do necromancy and are able to control vines to take out anyone they see as an enemy. The nobility are the upper class mofos in the city. These guys are basically just your everyday rich white inbreds. They own manors, castles, and a lot of property around the city. It makes these guys the main target for thieves to make a quick buckaroo. The four main people in the nobility are the Baron is the biggest nobility in the city. There isn't any one Baron. They would get replaced often by one of the many rich-ass families, but most Barons are terrible, high taxes, high tariffs, strict and extreme law and order. These guys are not very good, but they run the city. Lord Batford is the one who manages most of the gambling dens for Ramirez. He's basically the lower nobleman in the nobility. He just knows people in higher places. That's really it. Ramirez runs the biggest criminal empire in either Hightown or Old Quarter. I don't really remember, with smuggling and owning a shit ton of gambling dens with other illegal side businesses. The Quintus family is basically the Wayne family of the Thief universe, basically being known for how rich they are, and also, unlike the Wayne family, they're also known for having a huge tomb full of golden crab. Okay, alright, now that we got all that shit out of the way, we can get into the non-human enemy types, and the first one we got are zombies. Literally, they're what you think they are. They're just walking dead zombies. Haunts are usually seen as undead Hammerites, but they're not all undead Hammerites. When you see one, it's just a skeleton in the clothes the person died in, nothing really that special. Apparitions and shades. These guys are spiritual manifestations. They can hurt you, and some of them do take a special process to kill. And the final one, we have puppets. Puppets are the undead asylum patients that were introduced in Thief Deadly Shadows. These guys have metal cages on their heads and hands, likely due to torture. In Thief the Dark Project, there's Old Quarter, Hightown, New Market, and Downtown. In Thief Deadly Shadows, we have Stone Market, South Quarter, Old Quarter, not spelled with an E at the end, because I guess they wanted to get with the times. We have Docks and Alldale. And no, there is no city map for Thief 2. Trust me, I went on a 2-hour search. There is nothing. Now, after giving that brief, very, very fast, and not overly long tip of the iceberg background about Thief, for the ones who had no idea what Thief was, now you do. And I do know there is going to be someone watching this video who knows everything about Thief, like how Garrett's asshole clenches at this moment and not that moment. I know I said a few things wrong, and this was just because I didn't want to go through everything in one go. If you want to know the whole story and get the right answers, you can get the 3 mainline Thief games for like 10 schmackaroos. That's USD. And if anyone decides to buy these games from this video, which most likely not, you will have to install mods to make these games work properly just because of how old these games are. But luckily, these games have a fairly dedicated fan base that make mod installation literally plug and play. But now that we are done with this segment, we can get into the juicy oozy bit. Now, when I say remaster, I don't mean remaster in the traditional sense, that it's just updated graphics and refined controls. You can't do that with Thief, especially doing it off the Dark engine. The entire game would need to be remastered from scratch. If Eidos wants to prove they're not allergic to money, they would remaster one of their most successful IPs. Now calm down, Tomb Raider fans. I said one of. It's plural. What they would need to do for a remaster slash you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna call it a remaster. Eat a dick. It's not a remake. But what these mofos need to do to make this remaster a faithful remaster is Don't go with that garbage modern super ultra awesome-tastic realistic immersive fucking HUD. I have no idea why companies like this style. Back then, at least they were somewhat creative. Now, there's no creativity. And when I open up the game, I want to see shields indicating my health on the bottom left of my fucking screen, with the light crystal indicating how well lit I am. And last thing about the HUD, I fucking despise the mini-maps in stealth games. I do not like them. They're fine for more open-ended games like Metal Gear, but a game where you're primarily stealthing around in one area? No, my friend. I need that unfinished map you get at the start of a level, and as you go through further and further, your map broadens more as you go, and instead of the map giving you an exact pinpoint to your location, it says, you're somewhere in this area. Good luck, Buster. If this remaster ever gets announced and I see gameplay, I better see that fucking weapon wheel crap out of it. I want to have that same old fast equip. I don't need that shitty ass hold this to go into slow-mo mode and select what you want with the weapon wheel and inventory wheel instantly. I'm not expecting to go into open combat in these games. They're fucking stealth games. You're not supposed to play those games like that. And something about Garrett, he needs to be that same old quippy but dark sly character. If they make this motherfucker a dyke-ass Negro kisser, I'm gonna flip a bitch. Garrett needs to have that same old seriousness, but still have that quippy, dark, humorous, and sarcastic dialogue he's cooking up during cutscenes. I don't want to watch a cutscene and hear him change to be like fucking Splinter Cell Blacklist Sam Fisher. No, he needs to have that same old characteristic to him. Religious factions need to be the main focus for this game, whether it's Garrett stealing from the Hammerites or he's trying to give the pagans a disadvantage at an attack. We need these factions to play a pivotal role in the story. And that's the same thing for all of the supernatural witchcraft and magic in the game. There needs to be a huge emphasis on these things. That also goes into my fifth thing to make this remaster faithful. There needs to have zombies, ghosts, chaos beasts, and mech robots walking around and patrolling. We don't need to change things like that around because it's got unrealistic elements to it. Keep the unrealistic, fantastical, steampunk, gritty, grungy feel of the first 3 fucking video games. One of the biggest things about a remaster and a remake on modern game engines is nowadays, if it looks too realistic, it saturates all the visual style it once had, but if it goes too far into the old visual style, it won't have the same effect, because old style of video games had a certain look that modern engines can't replicate accurately. Well, actually, I lied. Modern game engines can replicate old games perfectly. It's just how you use the engine and the direction of the art style. I think Unreal Engine 5 is a perfect example of a AAA company not knowing how to use an engine like this creatively and effectively. Everything that comes out of Unreal Engine 5 looks like it was made in Unreal Engine 5. But look at these games. These games were made in Unreal Engine 5. What's the big deal? Oh, I know. These games are made by indie studios. They're not made by AAA game companies. That makes more sense. But surely this free-to-play dungeon crawler that I recorded me and Alex playing for a few hours isn't made in Unreal Engine 5 by an indie studio. Oh, no. Oh! That you can actually hit people with that shit?
Yeah, it's a weapon.
Dude, you're fucking me up. I don't have... Stop. I think Unreal Engine 5 would be the perfect engine for this remaster. The reason being is that the engine can pull off some fucking nasty, gritty, grungy, warm fantasy visuals that the Thief games have, but it needs to be done correctly. The style of Thief games are basically a mix between the fantastical 50s to 90s Disney medieval style. Like the fantastical medieval style of Sword in the Stone and the dirty, nasty, and also grittiness of the medieval ages while also having fantastical visuals of the Labyrinth. Look at Thief Deadly Shadows, the worst Thief game in the series, but the best looking Thief game in the series, with the blues illuminating a room, the warm white lights lighting the streets with the orangish yellowish tint of the torches, and the turquoise reflecting off an object when you're able to interact with it. All these visual cues play very, very nicely in making it feel like you're in a Disney movie one minute, then making it feel like you're a nasty, icky, wicky, homeless guy trying to see if it's safe to sleep here. Then the next minute, you don't even know know you were playing the fucking medieval style Outlast. By the way, made with Unreal Engine 2. The remaster, if it's even in the fucking talks, it has to feel like you're in the medieval era, where you feel dirty, you feel gross walking and traversing through the city, and it also has to look, like I said before, it has to bring back that Disney clean looking, very high class, fantastical style. The game's atmosphere is very tension-driven and unsettling, giving you that uncomfortable feeling like you're being watched constantly. Thief has a way of making everything feel unsettling, just kinda odd, like you recognize it enough to understand it, but it just has something weird to it, like it could change into something else in a split second. Like, this game is a horror game. It's not considered as a horror game, but it does horror in a way where you don't see the horror immediately until you're already deep in the game. And because you're so far in, well, I have to see what happens next, come on. This is the atmosphere a remake needs to have, if it's even being talked about. I want to get into a level and feel like something's a little off in this place. But thine can't put him's digits on thee. This is definitely made prevalent in the music and the The music in Thief is very tension-based and very eerie. When you get to your objective, you start realizing why it's so eerie. And it's because the game isn't trying to tell you sneaking is actually quite fun and easygoing. A good example of this is when you played hide and seek as a kid. Whenever you hid, it would kind of give you this nervous tension, but it would also be fun. The game replaces that, oh, well, you caught me, with high-stakes constant tension where the thalamus part of your brain is working overtime, kicking all your senses into overdrive, and your cerebral cortex is moving at 30 million miles an hour trying to comprehend what to do next to get yourself out of the situation. And Thief's sound design and music illustrates that high tension, always nervously looking over your shoulder perfectly. You're not gonna go into a military base, take a few guards out, get what you need in 10 minutes, then get out all happy fucking dandy while sick lo-fi beast to fuck a barely legal to is playing in the background. Like, listen to the music of Bathford's Manor, the first real mission you do after the tutorial in Thief, the Dark Project, or Gold. No way! It's the music I've been putting in for each subject transition? Now, the music actually meshes with the sound design of the game. You could be hearing and then the next minute you could be hearing like most modern games, when you're sneaking, it's all based on visual cues. Maybe you'll hear a guard patrolling, but it's so rare in modern games, it doesn't make any sense to even pay attention to it. When you're going down a hall in a modern game, you don't really hear the footsteps because it's being drowned out by the music and ambient noise levels. But when you're playing Thief, the visuals and sound work in tandem with each other. When you're about to go through a door and you don't know who's behind the door, instead of opening the door, possibly getting the guard's attention, you're instead getting right next to the door to hear where the guard is, trying to determine his movement, if he's closing in, about to go through the door you're putting your ear next to, or if he's going to another location. It's the same for you too. If you walk on metal, that's going to be louder than walking on wood or carpet. Or if you're walking down a hall on tile flooring, that's going to echo through the fucking halls, getting the guard's attention.
Nothing here now. Who's there? Who said that?
In modern games, and especially older games that came out around this time, games wouldn't give you that kind of feedback. It's mostly just, I'll just tiptoe here and I'll be fine because different terrain doesn't have any adequate noise in my environment. And the sounds of the environment in some of the areas in a level are fucking terrifying, emphasizing the already unsettling environment even more. And with the power of consoles and PCs, IDOS can really go full hog on the sound design and music, making sounds bounce off of objects objects reacting to different materials, and because most people who play video games have headphones, they can overhaul the living shit out of the sound even more. Enemies in video games are meant to either serve a few factors: character development, an obstacle, immerse the player in the world, or a narrative set piece to keep the story moving forward. The one I want to get into is the obstacle and immersion factors. When you play a game that has stealth, devs saying the main mechanic is stealth, there isn't actually stealth in it. It feels like the stealth we were told was supposed to be a main mechanic in the game still feels half-baked, kind of like a nothing burger. And enemies have a lot to do with how the stealth feels. If the enemies aren't reacting accordingly, it's gonna pull you right out of the experience. Like, say you're clearly right in front of an enemy's vision cone, crouched behind a barrier, but you see that your leg isn't in cover. But because your caution points aren't being shown, you're invisible to the AI. That is the worst kind of fucking enemy AI, especially in games based around stealth. You need the AI to make you feel uneasy, like they're too hyper-focused. The AI needs to make you second guess everything. If your foot is in the correct spot, if the top of your head is showing, if your equipment is showing, that should trigger a suspicion. And everything surrounding AI enemy types have gotten so fucking good over the past couple of years, and I'm talking about the good AI made by good companies, not whatever the fuck these companies are now. You know what's also awesome sauce? It's that AAA companies have seen the AI from Alien Isolation, Death Stranding, F.E.A.R, Shadow of Mordor, and they still refuse to tap into that kind of AI potential. If the Thief Remaster is in the talks or a new Thief game is in the works, I want enemy AI to do this. If I'm in the light and I'm crouched behind a barrier but my foot is out in the open and an AI enemy is coming over to my location, he should be suspicious about that and investigate. I need enemies to be hyper-focused. They need to be able to adapt to the player and use the environment and guerrilla warfare tactics against the player if they get alerted. If I'm walking to a doorway and the door is open but I'm in a room with a light and it casts a shadow through the doorway, the enemy should be able to pick up on that and go into a suspicious phase. Enemy AIs need to feel real. If the enemy knows you're in a room, the AI shouldn't just bolt in there. They don't know what you have, so if they have a chance to take cover, they should take the opportunity to go slow, survey the room, and take action on what to do next with the other AI. Sound needs to be a huge factor in this. Enemies need to react to how you're moving. If you're in a room with no ambient noise and you're crouched but you push that stick up fully, they should be able to pick up on what they should be able to hear. The same thing goes with the ambient noise levels. If there's a fireplace making popping noises, the AI should be able to pick up on that, giving you an opportunity to move efficiently. If a guard walks out of a room and he knows what's there and what isn't, taking something should confuse the enemy AI, pointing out that he saw the thing you took there, but now it's gone. Same for open doors, open crates, dressers, drawers. Even if you turn a light on and the light shines under the crack of the door, the guard should be confused and slightly cautious. No more alert meters. I fucking hate alert meters. They don't serve any purpose other than you can be reckless and retarded with what you're doing. I want suspicious, cautious, and alert. That's it. That's all I want. And it also goes to the AI combat. Stop dumbing down the fucking combat for these AI motherfuckers. If a guard is guarding something fairly important, they should be able to do some crazy fucking moves on you, right? And not be susceptible to every attack you do. These guys should be able to stagger you, parry you, do some fucking Arkham Origins Deathstroke boss fight shit. Like if the AI doesn't attack on you and you block it, the AI should follow it up with another attack. And if a guard sees you smoke like 5 of his guys, he should be smart enough to run away, not fight the guy that just took out 5 of his guys. It's shit like that that would make the AI more enjoyable. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you just want a laid back, casual experience. Then the difficulty should accommodate that for you. On easy mode, the guards have the same level of intelligence as the Arkham guards. On medium, enemy AI should be more like Manhunt's enemy AI. Hard should be what I just explained. And expert should just be hard, but you have to steal more. There are more objectives, and if you kill a guard or get any alerts, you have to restart to your last save. Game companies have those tools, but they just don't use them, and Thief would be a perfect showcase to show how good enemy AI can be in a stealth setting, and show other companies enemy AI can be hard, but it can also be fun. better parkour, more fluid, more freedom. Back then in the older games, for the time, you had a lot of freedom, and you still do in those games, but it's just sometimes when I'm trying to get away from someone, it's just booty. You guys have no idea, but I trained parkour for around 12 years, starting from when I was 6, and I see some of the things that a professional thief should be able to do, Garrett can't. And if I'm a professional thief breaking into these cathedrals, castles, and manors, the two things I would practice the most on is my getaway and stealing, because if you get caught stealing, and if you don't have a good getaway, it doesn't matter if you're good at stealing, you're still caught. I need that fucking dying light Assassin's Creed parkour. It's the same thing for when I'm crouched. When I'm crouched, I should be able to move fast, but it should look like I'm trying really hard not to make any noise. And you should be able to hug a wall in the remaster, switching from one corner to another right across from you. You should be able to go prone, hide under beds if it's elevated enough, and keep the goddamn climbing on top of bookshelves if you're in a tight spot and you need to get out of sight fast. There should be a shit ton of new creative ways to hide, move, and traverse through a Thief remaster. Should be the exact same as the first. By the books, every line, every cutscene should play out the exact fucking same as the first game. It should not change anything. Nothing, including in the environments. Nothing change. Nothing. Huge fat levels for you to approach however you want. And every mission should be the exact same as the first. A Keeper's Training, Lord Bafford's Manor, break from Craig's Cleft Prison, Down in the Bone Horde, Assassins, Thieves Guild, the Sword, the Haunted Cathedral, the Mage Tower, the Lost City, Song of the Caverns, Undercover, Return to the Cathedral, Escape, Strange Bedfellows, and Into the Maw of Chaos. Every single fucking mission and area unchanged, just better graphics and more going on in the areas. A remaster could work if IDOS actually cared, but of course they don't. And note that key word I just said, could. They could, they can, nobody's stopping them from doing so. I guess it's just easier to pay for Sora 2 AI to do all the work rather than having a 60-person development team put care and effort into the game. I know we will never, ever in a million years get a game like this, especially in a Thief remaster, but it's fun to dream. And this game was my first PC game I ever played back on my mom's PC when Windows 7 was alien technology and the PS3 was being used by the military.
Oh,